Hello, everybody. This is Maho Shonen, our podcast for Magic the Gathering. We're just a bunch of down-to-earth, weebs who enjoy playing Magic with friends and whatnot, and like to make anime references and whatnot. Here with me joining today is CJ. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm CJ. I'm a casual player for Magic the Gathering. I've only been playing for about 4 years, but so far it's been some of the best 4 years.
All right. And lastly, we have Mitchell. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit here?
Hi, I'm Mitchell, the Blueberry Lover. I've been playing Magic since, Scourge, 8th edition, 7th edition, one of those. That's when it started, and then I took a hiatus, and now I'm back. And I love the game, so much.
Awesome. Okay, so this is kind of more of a testing prologue episode for our podcast, but we're basically going to be, covering what is Magic, why you should totally be playing it, and more importantly, we played the Commander format together, and Commander has blown up to epic proportions these past couple years. So, in your guys' terms, how would you describe Magic? In you guys.
Magic is fun. For me, Magic has a lot of strategy, and I guess that's what appealed to me when I first started playing, was that it was just kind of like you play at your own pace. Back then, I had a green-white deck, life gain, big things, and it was pretty bad. But
this is when you first started out playing, though, right?
Yeah, this is when I first started playing out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in my play group, one person was blue-black control. Dread Skeletons was the bane of my existence, and then Goblin Rider there's another one with green-red goblins and big things and just freaking, I don't know. It just taught me to love the game so much, and it's kind of sad because I stopped playing because all my cards were stolen. So.
Oh man. So then, so when did you come back then?
A lot of fun stories. I don't know, normal stories is I got back into college.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was because of you, Victor. Yeah, you. Yeah, Victor, you.
So did you really took that long of a hiatus, all the way from Scourge 8th edition, all the way until when we met was back in 2012?
Yeah, during Cons was the great set to come back right into Magic, and it was since then. Because I missed out on a lot of good cards, a lot of cool things.
That's totally fair. Okay, but then you're the one who convinced Chris or CJ here to to play Magic with us too, right? During Cons block.
I actually tried to get him to play Magic when we were in high school, but he didn't like the cards of Mirage.
Oh, those are super old school.
Actually,
they're super duper old school. It's high school's if I remember correctly, I'm not that much older than you, but that was Shards of Alar Zendikar block. You know what I mean? And you introduced it to Mirage of all things.
I didn't know the other cards. I didn't have them. I was a freaking high school person with a Yu-Gi-Oh, man.
Okay, that's totally fair. I can't blame you for that. When you're younger, it's you got to make do with what you got. Okay. So it seems like you guys both enjoy Magic, but
what about Chris?
well, technically, you introduced me to Magic in elementary school, not high school.
Oh, was it elementary school?
It was elementary school because we were still playing Yu-Gi-Oh on the ground. All those Yu-Gi-Oh cards, just on that cement and pavement.
that explains why it was Mirage.
No,
I got the Mirage cards in middle school, so it was
I wasn't in high school yet. I'm pretty sure.
No, because I got it when I was in 7th grade. Anyway,
I don't think I was. I wasn't in high school yet. Maybe I was. Who knows?
I think you were.
Well, back in the day, I feel there's a lot of in my neighborhood we had grab bags of old school cards, and that's how you kind of find older cards from Mirage or Antiquities and shit like that. But nowadays it's older cards are just really hard to come by, especially the good ones. But moving on though, so we all started playing Magic standard, right? Cons, right?
Yeah, I go back to when I started. I was still kind of playing Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. Yu-Gi-Oh is still a pretty good game, but not a lot of our friends were playing it. It was just 3 of us. So Mitchell actually texted me while I was getting my car wash at a car wash, and was like, "Hey, there's a pre-release tonight. You want to just join us? We're gonna have fun and everything, meet some new people." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I got nothing going on tonight." And Next, you notice I was at the pre-release, for it was Dragon's Dark Cure. I got the Mardu box, and I actually got some pretty good pools. My promo was a Colligan's Command, so it's worth a lot right now. But it was actually got me into Magic, and I think from there, I built a Mardu standard deck first, and then the rotation hit, and then that's how I got into Commander.
I think a lot of people tend to forget that when rotation hits, they be like, "Oh no, my cards, they're not valuable." But luckily, Magic has this great format called Commander, where there is no rotation you got to worry about. So, I'd love to hear your guys' opinions about what you think about Commander and why you should play it.
Well, I switched over to Commander because my $15 Rabble Masters were rotating out.
Rip.
Oh, Rabble Master, I remember the time. But yeah, so what exactly is Commander? Commander is a casual format where instead of playing your typical 60 card deck in Magic, you'll be playing with a 99 card deck, singleton only, except for basic lands, and you have a legendary creature that is your quote unquote commander, and you have to build a deck that's based on the colors of that commander. Now, here's the thing: is that color identity is a very big part of Commander and whatnot, and you can only use cards that are the same color identity as your commander. So how did you guys, choose your commander? Because there's 5 colors of Magic, and each one represents a different strategy or different strengths and weaknesses. What colors appeal to you guys the most, and how did you first build your very first commander deck?
For me, I think at the time when I started getting back into Magic, it was Teamer, and I chose Teamer just because Serac Dragonclaw.
Yes, the 5-mana 6/6. Did he have Flash?
He had flashes too.
Yeah, and then
other creatures you control have trample.
Yeah, I know. And he can't be countered. He's just
he can't be countered.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, he was a big boy. 6/6.
5-mana 6/6. Not bad. Not bad.
Flash. Yeah, that was. I think he was my first commander, and I don't know. I was just playing with cards that just cheap cards that I bought from I just see Journey to Nyx, and then also freaking it was a deck builder's toolkit or something like that from back in the day, and I was just playing with cards that I just pulled.
Mm-hmm.
And then I eventually built a Intet deck.
But still Teamer colors, right?
It was still Teamer colors.
Okay.
And then I built Maelstrom Wanderer.
Still Teamer colors.
It was still Teamer. So I didn't really dig into other colors until maybe recently, a year or two ago, where I was usually just green because green was ramp, and I was a big advocate for green's really good. Just play it. It solves all your problems. Just ramp with it. But now I'm I don't know. I'm not much of a fan of green. I kind of like colors blue, black, white. Even though back in the day I didn't like black, white. I didn't like plains and swamps.
Well, I think chances are you probably played so much green-based decks that you probably got sick and tired of it.
Probably, yeah.
And then what were you, CJ? What was your very first commander?
Well, I was playing Mardu and Standard, so I kind of like those colors. And if any of you don't know Mardu, it's red, black,
and
white. And so I honestly just was looking up commander cards. It wasn't on EDH Rec because I didn't know about that website when I first got into Magic.
I'm not even sure EDH Rec was up during the time of cons.
It was 2015, so I'm not too sure.
I thought it was 2012.
No, I got into Dragon's Dark Cure came out 2015.
Really?
Yeah. It was 2014. I think
that was a 2-year block. Wow.
Yeah, standard because back then standard was rotating every 1.5 years, 2 years ish. Yeah. Because if I remember correctly, we had the Theros coming out before cons, right?
Yeah, Theros was before the cons block.
Yeah.
But so I honestly don't know how I came up with the commander I chose. I think it was because I was coming from a time when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And the deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! I was playing was dragons and fairies and fiends and everything like that.
Dark
And,
Lord fairies. Or whatever
Dark
it was.
Lord fairies. So the commander I chose was Kalia of the Vast, which is a 4 CMC commander. 1 and Mardu colors. And she's got flying, and then whenever she attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon out on the field, tapped and attacking. And I honestly just think, I like angels, I like demons, and I like dragons. So what's there not to love about this card?
That's a good one. I also made a Kalia deck because, the pre-con box, and oh man, do I have hilarious memories when I first started playing Commander, because I always want to get into it, but didn't really have a play group until I convinced a couple of my other friends. And I remember Kalia being quite the boogeyman, where, you have a 6/6 flying dragon swinging at you, turn 4, turn 5, and everyone would be, crying and everything. Yeah, everyone would be all groaning and whatnot, but, the times have changed where Kalia is still explosive, but there's a lot more powerful cards that you can do more broken, combos or synergies and whatnot. So, here's the thing though, is that how would you explain the color pie to another player, and how would you help them choose, their commander? Because that's a real question here, because, we've been playing for a while now, but our community is always ever growing, and there's plenty of great content creators out there who have beginner's guides, but some of them are a little dated nowadays, and I would love to share some insight for our new audience about how to get into Commander. So Mitchell, you got some words of advice here for these newcomers, how to pick their colors and whatnot.
The color pie doesn't exist. I'm just kidding. It does totally. It's there to. The color pie is there to balance the game.
Yeah.
You want me to describe each color, or
it's up to. Well, I guess I can give a basic rundown.
Quick synopsis of what you think each one. Maybe a couple words for each one.
green big things, and ramp, big things and ramp.
I guess here. Let me. I'll cover.
Yeah,
it.
I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not the best advocate for this.
Okay, so we'll start with white. White's your basic good guy color, where white tends to have a lot of healing magic, and a lot of the creatures tend to be small, like soldiers and knights and whatnot. And alone, they're not very powerful, but they tend to make a lot of them and work together, as an army. And other creatures that you tend to see in white also happens to be angels and whatnot, and they have a lot of protective magic. The next color in line would be blue, and blue's like the color of knowledge, where they're always trying to think ahead and plan out their strategies. And their famous mechanic is usually being able to counter spells. And they also tend to, being the color of knowledge, they also have adherently the most card draw compared to the other colors. Then we have black. Black is the color of ambition. You do whatever it takes. So, for example, the funniest comparison I can think of is you're willing to cut off a finger if it cuts off your opponent's entire hand, right? You do whatever it takes to get the job done. And black is usually your typical dark magic necromancy. You got zombies, you got demons, and other dark fantasy tropes. The next color in line after that would be red. And red is, color of raw emotion, where you run on your impulses. Technically red, you see a lot of fire magic because it's wild and erratic, lightning, and you see creatures such as goblins and dragons in red because they're just primal and just wild. And then the last color is green, where green is, generally the color of life, where they tend to have a connection with generating more mana, whether it be creatures who generate you more mana or spells that get you more lands that help you generate more mana. And in turn, you can use that excessive amount of mana to play bigger creatures. So that's kind of the basic rundown of the color pie. But the cool thing is that you don't have to play a monocolor commander at all. There's plenty of multicolor commanders out there of different combinations, and with all these combinations, each color complement each other in an interesting way. So, like you said, your first commander was Teamer, right? Which is red, green, and blue.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird color because, it's how does that all synergize together well, And it's really cool because in Commander, you can kind of find a legendary creature that has certain color aspects, and it'll inspire you to build a certain way. For example, CJ, earlier you said Kalia, right? Because you're coming from Yu-Gi-Oh! You love, like, dragons, fiends, and fairy types and whatnot, which happens to kind of fit with, like, red, black, and white, and Kalia fits those colors a little bit, and, you found your match made in heaven a little bit right there for your first get-go. But, I wanted to, like, listen to your guys' insight on how would you help a newer player find the colors they like, and, like, how would they get going if they want to get started in Commander?
Well, there's always the color pie test that you can take. I don't know, you can find, they're kind of, like, diminishing, I think, like, the color pie tests. I don't know, they need to be updated.
I do agree, they do. Like, there's not many out there anymore, and some of them are kind of, like, obvious choices to the answers, and
Right.
you can kind of skewer your colors a little bit.
Yeah, so then there's another thing. Maybe just look through. I know that it's a lot of cards to look through, but I kind of recommended, like, one of my other friends that started playing, just troll through EDH Rec or just Gatherer and see through, like, legendary creatures and see, like, what kind of appeals to you. Maybe find a card that you really like and then see what kind of colors that you can play with it.
So would you ever recommend people to play Standard from the get-go to test out the color pie?
I recommend starting. I think Standard is a good way to start out to get kind of used to Magic.
Like the
because
mechanics?
Yeah, because with Commander, you're playing with
That's
tens of thousands of different cards, And if you're new to the game, you just look at all these cards and you're just like, I have no idea what I want to play, how I want to build it. When you get to Standard, you kind of learn basic deck building.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get used to terms, how game mechanics work. And not even Standard. I recommend, like, even
Maybe just
going to, like, a
draft.
pre-release.
Yeah, like draft
like,
or sealed.
If you go to a pre-release, you're kind of, like, getting some of the basics. Since you're not building a full 60 card deck, you're building a 40 card deck. So you're kind of getting used to how deck building works. And you're given, like, a limited pool, so it, like, helps you, like, learn how cards interact with each other. And I think going from, like, one to another, then to, like, Commander is a lot easier than to just jumping into Magic and going straight to Commander, because it's like taking a foreign language class.
Oh, yeah.
You take French or Spanish, something like that, and you just jump into French year 2 or 3, and you think, oh, I know some French words, I know some words in Spanish, everything like that, and you think you can do it, but you can't. It's oh, no. You need to start from the basics and work your way up, because I think once you get to games like Commander, Modern, Vintage, Legacy, that's when you're starting to play with the big boys.
Most definitely, because I do have to agree with you, because when I was trying to convince my other friend to play, I got him to play Standard first, and even then he was very overwhelmed because of the Standard card pool is smaller compared to the card pool compared to Commander, of course, but even then, still hundreds of cards to pick from, and he still was having trouble deciding what kind of playstyle he liked to play. And even if I did, like, I helped him, like, take the color pie test, and it says that he was borderline between black and green. So, luckily for him, this is during the Scars of Mirrodin block with Zendikar, and I was like, well, there's this great event deck for $30 if you want to start playing. And luckily, my intuition was right, and he absolutely fell in love with that deck, and it was a Birthing Pod deck. For everyone who doesn't know, Birthing Pod is a 4-mana artifact with, like, a Phyrexian symbol. Phyrexian mana is a mechanic from a specific set from New Phyrexia, where you can pay either the color mana symbol or pay 2 life. And essentially, it also has an active ability where you can pay Phyrexian green mana, tap it to sacrifice a creature, and look in your library for a creature that costs exactly 1 more, and put it onto the battlefield, and then you shuffle your library, and you can only play this at sorcery speed. And my friend absolutely loved the whole idea of creating this toolbox deck where you have so many creatures that get you out of these, situations, and being able to be so flexible. He absolutely enjoyed it. And he was sad and bummed out the fact that when rotation hit, he couldn't play that deck anymore. But luckily, I cheered him up by buying him one of the Commander precons back in 2012, which was the, it's now Abzon, but it was junk before. It was with Gave, and it was the exact same colors that he was playing in.
What were those colors again?
Those colors being black, white, and green. He was definitely a green-black player, but then he definitely started appreciating the white aspect too, because it gave him more flexibility in card choices and removal spells and whatnot. So it was perfect. And on top of that, he eventually did added white into his green-black Birthing Pod deck, just because I remember walking down the store and he saw Elvish Norn for about $8-9 at the time, and he was just like, "Oh, this card looks sweet, and I can go up the chain and just grab it." So yeah, it's that's
$9 Elish Norn.
Oof, yeah,
the
right?
dream.
The dream back in the day. But yeah, so Commander is one of those games where it's really hard, because I would definitely suggest you guys learn the basic mechanics first of playing Standard, and then you come into Commander, because the joy about Commander is having a huge arsenal of cards that you can pick from, and then using your Commander as a crutch to make crucial decisions on what cards to make it into your deck and what not to put in your deck, and then also being the limiting factor of your color identity. And you can make it flavorful however you want to do it, and then with so many cards you can play from Magic's rich history. But
I also recommend, like what Victor did with his friend, I recommend for any beginner players to pick up a Commander precon.
Yeah.
I think the precons are honestly the best bet if you don't want to go to Standard, you don't want to do any of the other things, you just want to play Commander with your friends. I think buying a precon is probably 100% the best route to go. We had a friend, he was playing Magic, but he didn't really build a Commander deck yet, and so we got him the black precon from 2014 with...
Was it 2014 or 2013?
No, it was 2014 because it was mono black.
I think it was 2014.
It's 2015
Okay.
where the
With the enemy colored experience counter ones. Yeah.
what is his name?
Obnixilis.
Obnixilis, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Planeswalker Obnixilis, before he was a demon, and to be honest, that was a really strong deck. Mono black can get you far.
So we're recommending just play mono black for your starting deck.
Well, to be honest, I'm just saying that I think monocolors are actually really good, because you don't have to worry about being mana screwed color wise.
Yeah.
Sure, it's one of those things where you're kind of limited to the card choices that you have because you're in one color. But to get you off, to get you started, it'll get the job done being monocolor.
That might be the best thing too.
Yeah.
Just to not have an overwhelming card pool.
Yeah, basic steps, right? And then you're probably right. Buying a precon is absolutely fantastic. And luckily, August, I think it's August, right? They start announcing the Commander precons.
Take my wallet.
It's usually, I think it's late August, mid to late August. The Commander 2019 comes out, because they're probably going to start releasing spoilers towards the end of July.
Oh man, this summer of Magic is absolutely insane.
Jam-packed, filled with Magic.
I think they're just shoving too many Magic products. It needs to be spaced out, because
that's another topic for another video, I think.
Yeah, exactly. How do you decide what Magic products to invest into, especially if you're, middle school, high school, or even a broke college student where your focus is somewhere else and you don't necessarily have the money or the excess, income to actually play this game.
You play with what you got.
Exactly. So the
Proxies.
No, I mean, maybe.
I think proxy is not bad, but that's a different topic that we can touch on another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you guys have any final remarks of tips and advice how to get a newer player into Magic and into Commander specifically? Precons are great. Starting at pre-releases are great to learn the mechanics. Standard is actually not too bad.
I think having a cube or drafting might be drafting might be overwhelming, but maybe a cube to see
Well, who's gonna make the cube though? That's the thing.
You gotta make the cube.
If they're a brand new player, I think that's a lot of work. I think cubes are more suited for veteran players. Yeah, players who've been playing because it's draft in and itself, but it's drafting with your own cards. So you got to figure out like exactly the right ratio.
Yeah, I'm not like the best person to ask because like I don't know. I got into Magic and then I kind of already knew what I liked. So
Well,
I was like,
yeah, definitely. I did get you into Magic, and then but you
no, I was already into Magic before. Like
Oh yeah. From
Yeah.
like your very very first beginning. But how did
got
you? But how did you
rejuiced.
convince like you're the one who convinced CJ, right?
well, it was to go to limited.
Yeah, I just wanted to hang out with some people that night. And to be honest, one of the things that got me to keep wanting to go is, that Korean barbecue afterwards.
The JBBQ.
That's true.
Nothing wrong with that. But I think, I got to play it. I had a lot of fun. And it was at the end of my time when I was starting to get a little bit bored with Yu-Gi-Oh! I had no one really to play with. And I didn't really play tournaments at that time anymore. So my decks were built with a lot of banned cards. So when I got introduced to Magic, I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. It's something I could play with.
So basically, from what I'm getting, it seems to me that another great way is try to go in it with a friend so you don't go it alone.
Oh yeah.
Having someone that experienced it together with you, and you guys both can be newbies together. I think that actually can be a pretty fun one too.
But don't force them. Just be like,
No.
Yeah.
Of course not. You're not gonna force people, but you just ask them like, "Oh, hey, would you be down to, check out this game with me?" Because, besides playing with friends is always what makes it magical, and that's what we're all about, right, guys? Friendship is magic.
I think that's what is the biggest appeal with Commander is unlike with Standard and Modern and Vintage and Legacy, where it's kind of like 1v1. With Commander, it's like you can play with a group of 3, 4, 5, 6. It's almost like a Monopoly game. Sometimes. So it's like
yes.
you can make a game night and get your friends together, gather around a table, and start playing a game. And everyone can be included, and no one really has to be pushed out until they lose, of course. But it's honestly one of the best ways to spend evening. For any of you old enough viewers, crack open a beer, get some food, whatnot, and
Yeah, just having a really chill game night, right? Yeah. To be honest, I totally agree, because it's one of those things where Commander's got that social aspect where you can just sit down and enjoy company with good friends and have a laugh about things, and then the whole idea about it is that it's casual. You can play however you want to play with it. As long as you're having fun, it's going to be a good time. But, I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Any final remarks? Anything?
I say, this is trademarked, but friendship is magic. And always remember, deck thinning is deck winning.
Oh Lord, okay, that's a different topic for another day, because I personally don't believe in that. But anyways, so yeah, this is Victor from Maho Shonen. We're gonna sign out because we gotta go, and then next time we can start talking more in depth about some more tips and tricks on deck construction and some other tools and other channels you guys should definitely check out if you wanna get started. And you guys want to send out your closing remarks?
have a good day, all.
This is CJ from Maho Shonen.
Friendship is magic. Peace out, guys.
Pew! Do the Discord sound.
It's more like.